Okay, this calculation is for couple that owns a property with 99.1% arrangement, and now it's time for the 1% to sell the share back to 99%. Okay, you have to determine two things first. Okay, number one will be, of course, property price. Okay, and then the second thing is outstanding loan. So I just take 1 mil for example, and all the figures here I just randomly plug for easy calculation purpose. So of course the next thing is you should know who is the 99 and who is the 1%, and the 1% will be the seller and 99 will be the buyer. I will always start with the 1% first, which is the seller. Okay, just like any other sale of property, we have to find out what is the outstanding loan for this seller. We have to know what is the CPF refund and tabulate with all the necessary costs to count their net sales proceed. So for example, okay, if this seller is having a 1% share, okay, 1% of 700,000 of outstanding loan, their outstanding loan is actually at 7K. Okay, for this seller. So assuming that the CPF refund, he used slightly more than 1%, a lot of situations is like that, right? So we use 50,000 for example. Okay, legal fee for a normal sale, right, is about 2,005 or 2,000 to 2,005, but I mark it up to 3,000. Then we calculate the sales proceed. For example, the value we get for this 1% is at 10,000, okay, minus the outstanding loan of 7,000, and minus the CPF refund, and then minus the legal fee. You will notice that usually is a negative sale unless they didn't use much on CPF or they didn't use any CPF. So this is a negative sale. We take note here first. So we proceed to the buyer side. Okay, buyer side. If the seller has 10K of worth of value, that means the buyer has 990, the balance value. Okay, so we see what is the current loan, the outstanding loan of the buyer right now. So we take 99%, okay, times the outstanding loan, you get 693. This is the outstanding loan for the buyer currently. If this buyer wants to buy over the share with loan, they can do so. The share of the seller is at 10K. Correct, he's buying over this 10K times the LTV, current LTV, which is 75% at this moment. The additional loan that this person can get, right, is 7,500. So the new loaner will be 693 plus 7,500, total $700,500. This one need to check age and income. Okay, since you are taking loan, 25% can be cash or CPF. Stamp duty, 10,000 times 1%. Okay, this is the formula for calculating stamp duty. Of value lesser than 180K will be $100. So legal fee, legal fee at 3,000. Okay, so all in all, legal fee here is actually around 6,000. Depending on law firm, some can charge up to 7, 8 or 9. Okay, depending on law firm. Okay, so you see here, what is the cost of doing all these things? The loan has been increased 25%, and stamp duty, legal fee. So these are the components. But that's not the end. Remember, the seller has a negative sale. So this one is also a cost. Whole purchase, there is some CPF and cash component. 5% must be cash, we all know. 20%, this we can use CPF. Okay, stamp duty, we can use CPF. Legal fee, we can use CPF. Okay, so in other words, right, this buyer has to sort of fork out $500. Over here, this component can only be cash. The total cash involved will be 47,000 plus $500. So you may ask, how come my buyer have 100K of CPF in his account, in his OA right now? I cannot use to pay for this 47,000 because In this case, right, the share of this seller only 1%. The maximum value that he can sell is 1% of the property price, which in our case is 10K. So how can the buyer pay more than 10K to the seller? And also, this negative of 47,000, okay, by right should be from the seller, not from the buyer.